everybody, this is Heather Sides. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I am here tonight to do an online card making class. We're going to make 3 different cards, and I'm excited to share them with you. If this is your first time joining us, please say hello. I'd love to know who's joining us for the first time. That's always exciting. Bear with me here as I get my my computer set up. I want to make sure that I can see all of your comments. And speaking of comments, I really want to encourage you to participate in the conversation tonight, talking to each other, talking to me, whatever, because it's just kind of fun to, oops, hang on, I got to put my, my camera on mute, or my computer on mute. There we go, much better. So anyway, do participate in the conversations. I just love it. It makes it a little more lively. It's fun. But also the Facebook and the YouTubes like that. It factors into their algorithm and makes them want to share my video more. So if you would join in, comment, ask questions, whatever, I'd love to have you join us. So other things, let's see. If you enjoy what you see tonight, if you would please give me a thumbs up or a like. Hearts are lovely. Or share the video, that's even better. Again, those are things that go into the algorithm that tell Facebook and YouTube that these are videos someone else might want to see. So I appreciate that. It does help me to grow my business. So let's go ahead. We'll get ourselves started. Give a minute or two for a few more people to pop on tonight. Let's see, what have I had going on this last week? Well, last week, this is big and exciting. I thought I broke my toe. And I know it's very exciting. You probably need to take a moment to, calm down from all the excitement from that. I drink from one of these, these hydro flask things, which weigh like 750 pounds empty. And it was filled with liquid and ice, so that made it a little heavier. I set it down on my chair and it rolled off the chair, so it didn't even have very far to fall, just a couple feet, and it landed right on my big toe. And even with shoes on, it almost immediately had this giant bruise all across my toe. And so I thought, oh, yep, I broke the toe. But there's nothing they can do about it, right? By that night, I was pretty certain it was broken because the entire toe was, or the entire top of my toe was totally dark purple. And so I was like, well, yeah, that's it. But the next day the bruise was already fading and it didn't hurt anymore. So I think it just must have hit just right, like on a vein or something, and popped it. So it was kind of ugly there for a little bit, but not broken. So that's the kind of exciting stuff that happens in my life. Broken toes. So, or not broken toes, as the case may be. So this week I had a little extra time to get to play with my stamps, and I've been super busy with work and life stuff going on, and I actually got to play a little more this week, which was fun. So I did come up with some great cards for you, and even have an extra one to show you that I made for a team competition. Not competition, but challenge is the right word. Team challenge that we had, so I'll show you that too. And I do like to show you the extra cards when I have time to make them. So I think that just about covers everything going on in my life. I hope you guys had a fabulous week. And as we kick off this new week, you like how I've now made Wednesday the kickoff of the new week. So let's kick it off. I'm going to show you a few things going on, some housekeeping, and then we're going to get going on those cards. How's that sound? Okay, so bear with me while I turn the camera around. And you'll notice that this week I actually started in landscape mode, and I was right side up. So, let's do 3 cheers for me on that front. That's pretty exciting. I see Mary has joined us. Welcome, Mary. I don't know if I've seen your name on here before. So is this your first time joining us? I love it when we have new people joining us. So I am just adjusting my camera right now. I want to make sure you guys get the best view possible. Let's see, there we go. Now it's kind of centered on my workspace. Well, a little better anyway. There we go. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is our Waves of the Ocean promotion. I brought this up every week, but I want to keep bringing it up because I want you to know that it is available. Right now, we have this special going where you can buy the bundle, which is these stamps and these dies. And both the stamps and the dies and the bundle will all be in our new catalog that comes out on May 3rd. But until then, what we have special to offer is that you can also get this amazing paper that looks like, you know, that technique that's kind of popular right now where they drip, is it oil paint? I don't think it's oil paints, but they drip paint on a canvas and then they just kind of let it flow and move and kind of, gosh, I don't even know the words, but they let it move around on the canvas on its own. Well, that's what this paper looks like. Then we've also got metallics. We've got a blue and kind of a teal, and then also silver. We've also got these amazing Rhinestone Waves basic jewels. They're so pretty in all sorts of waterish kind of colors. And these items are only available until May 2nd. They will not be in the new catalog. So if you like everything you see on this page, you can actually buy the entire collection where you get the stamps, the dies, the papers, and the gems for just $79.25. But remember, you can only buy this entire collection like this until May 2nd. So if you are liking this, as I'm sure you do, it's beautiful and everybody's loving it. You want to get it by the time it goes away on May 2nd. Then also we've got a special going on just this month where what they have done is they have kind of focused on bundles and our bundles, if you're not familiar, bundles are where we have put together a set of stamps and a set of dies that coordinate together. We sell them together at a discount. But what they've done is they've taken these bundles, and some of them are retired bundles where maybe the stamps and the dies are still available, but they're not available to buy as a bundle. They brought the bundle back for this special, and they're not just 10% off, they're 20% off. So there's quite a savings when you buy these bundles this month. And there's 13 of them you can see from these little flyers here, and you can also see them on my website at heathersides.stampinup.net, which you cannot see, can you? I'll flash it up there just so that you can see it real quick, heathersides.stampinup.net, and you can see all of these dies a little bit better that way. Also, our mini cutting and embossing machine, which I'm going to use tonight, it is also on sale. Normally it is a ridiculously good price of $60, but this month it's only $48 because it too is 20% off. So this is a great time to test drive our cutting and embossing machines. If you don't have one, you can test drive it with the mini one for just $48. So great deal. So then the next thing I want to bring up is May 2nd, our annual catalog retires. And all sorts of wonderful new stuff is going to be in it. In fact, demonstrators got a sneak peek today at the new catalog, which I can't show you yet, but I can tell you there's lots of wonderful things in there. Here's the thing. There's only so much room for Stampin' Up! To keep inventory, and you know, things go out of style too. And so at the same time that the catalog gets retired, so do many of our favorites that are in the catalog. And I got that list today. This list is available to you where you can see what's going to be retiring, and some of it is actually available at a pretty amazing discounted price. For example, there's a stamp set here that is 40% off and only costs $13.20. So great deals. And again, you can see that on my on my website, heathersides.stampinup.net, you can see this list. I can also email you a list if you prefer to have like a hard copy like this that you can print out. And just let me know. You can send me a message here on Facebook or YouTube, leave a comment, whatever works for you, and let me know. And I would be happy to email you a copy of this list. So also, if you want to be on my mailing list to receive the new catalog that's coming out in May, also let me know that, because I will put you on the list so that you will get one as soon as they come out. So that's all the housekeeping stuff I have for you tonight. Are you ready to make some cards? Let's go ahead and get going. Hey, Crystal, it's good to see you. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started with our first card. And let's see here. For this card, we're using a set that is in our January through June mini catalog. And you know what? I'm going to pull this up just a little bit, my stand up just a little bit, because I think we'll be able to, give us a little bit more space to work with, that you can see what I'm doing. So bear with me here. Okay, that's a lot better. No, there we go. That is a lot better. I'm going to get it down just a little bit more though. Okay, as my camera floats all over the place while I do this, right? Okay. Let's see. Okay, I think you've got a pretty good view there. So that looks good. You know, sometimes once I get going and I really look at the view that you guys have, then I need to make adjustments. You know how that goes. So, okay, so this first card that we're going to make uses the Sweet Conversations stamp set and Sweetheart dies. These are also sold as a bundle in the January through June mini catalog. And let's go ahead and get started. Let me grab my cutting and embossing machine. I thought I was missing one of my plates, but it was in my hand. So I guess we're good. Okay, so this is the first card we're going to make. What I like about this Sweet Conversations set is that it came out right around Valentine's Day. It came out at the beginning of January. And so the focus, of course, with it was Valentine's Day cards. But, you know, you really can send a love card or a heart card year round. So I like to kind of mix it up a little and use these kind of stamps during the rest of the year, just to remind you that a set like that is not just limited to Valentine's Day. So this is the card we'll be making. The inside is pretty simple. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got a half a sheet of cardstock. It is 8.5 by 5.5. It is scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and fold it there. I'm going to take my bone folder and give it a nice sharp crease. And we'll go ahead and I'm pulling out the envelope because I do like to do the envelopes at the beginning. And then we're also going to do the inside. What I have done is I put our adhesive sheets on the back of this paper. This is our Blackberry Bliss paper. And I put an adhesive sheet on the back. So when I cut this out with my dies, I'll show you, I used this die right here. When I cut it out, what it did is it turned this die into a sticker, which I really like to do when I have dies with really fine details. It's just a little bit easier than trying to do something with glue, you know, which I will do in a pinch as well. I see that Colleen has joined us. Welcome, Colleen. It's nice to see you. Okay, so I'm trying to get the backing off. I put it on kind of funny, and I forgot to use a strip that had like a little break in it so that it's easy to peel off. So I'm just taking my Take Your Pick tool. I should put my glasses on for this one. I don't know why I don't just start out my glasses, because I need them. And it is a little dark in here. I might turn my little light on here in just a moment. And I'm just trying to get the release paper off the back of this. It's a little tricky on these small ones, but it is worth it, I think, in the end. There we go. Just comes right off just like that. And we're just going to put it inside the card. You could do it at the top, at the bottom, at the middle. I kind of like it there, actually. I'm going to put it there this time. On my original one, I put it along the bottom, but I kind of like it right here. So, oh, and now it's crooked. So let's see if I can get it to peel off and make it straight. Okay, let's see. Does that look straight? Now it's going to bug me until it's straight, you know. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. Straight. That's good enough, right? Okay, so let's get started on the front of our card. What I've done here is I have 2 layering pieces that will be kind of the base. They'll go on the base of our card for the front. So let's go ahead and put those together. That way they're done and not in the way. Those of you who've been following me for a while know that I have a tendency to lose pieces, so I like to put pieces together as I go, just so that there's less likelihood that I will lose them. So what I've done is I've taken 2 sheets here. I've got some of our basic white and I have some of our Blackberry Bliss. This Blackberry Bliss is one of my favorite colors that we carry because it's just so rich. I'm moving this. I didn't get it quite as centered as I'd like. So let's try it again. Just get it on here. There we go. I like that a little better. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put this on my card front, and I'm going to use some Stampin Dimensionals. Normally I prefer to use some of my foam adhesive sheets just because I can cut one big sheet and put it there, or a couple medium-sized sheets to do that, but I am out of them right now, and I need to place an order. So I'm just putting some Stampin Dimensionals on here, and I do like to put lots of them on my card. I don't know, I go crazy with them. So you don't really have to put as many as I do, but I like to, just to ensure that the card doesn't sag. I've said it before, I have enough things that sag in my life, and come on ladies, you know what I'm talking about, and I don't need my cards to sag too. Whoops. Stampin Dimensionals are great for just popping stuff up off your card to give it just a little bit more, it calls attention to whatever the piece is that you've popped up. So I do like to use them. Now I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool just to quickly get these little backings off, but they do come off quite easily. You can just pick them off with your fingers. I have a garbage can that I keep here right next to my desk, and just toss them in there. So again, using my Take Your Pick tool. This Take Your Pick tool is my must-have tool. If I were to say one tool that you absolutely had to have, couldn't live without, life is incomplete without it, I would say it's the Take Your Pick tool. It's like $10 or $12 or something like that. It comes with a few different tips. It comes with this pointy tip here. It comes with this tip that has putty in it, which is great for helping you to pick up small things like some of our tiny little gems and sequins and things like that. And then it also, this tip, you can turn it over and it's like a little, sort of like a little putty knife. There's also an extra one that you can buy that's like a little roller brush that works really well for rolling over your dies that you've cut out, so that it gets all the little pieces out for you. So this really is an amazing tool, and I use it all the time in lots of ways. So I'm going to go ahead and just set that on there. We're going to set it aside. Oh, we still need to do the envelope, so let's do that. What I do typically is I will tear up the edge of my paper here, but you can, use any scratch paper, obviously. And I put the envelope in here this way because I just want to stamp on the flap. I don't want to stamp on the rest of the envelope. So I'm going to take my Blackberry Bliss ink. I don't know what is wrong with my mouth tonight, but the words Blackberry Bliss are just a tongue twister for me tonight. Okay. All right. So, Crystal, I know where you are from. Where are you from, Colleen? I'm just taking the stamp and kind of positioning it in different ways all over the flap of the envelope here so that I can just get a little bit of coverage on here so you see the hearts and some go off the edge. Let's see here. Just like so. You can also decorate the front of your envelope if you choose to. I'm just keeping it simple and just doing the flap like that. So I'm going to set my stamp aside. Usually I try to clean them right away, but we're going to use that same ink here in just a moment. So we'll get started on that. Now I have just a couple of white scraps. For these, what I want to do is I want to stamp 3 of these little hearts that I just stamped on the envelope. I want to stamp them on my white, basic white cardstock. I need 3, and then we're going to cut them out with the die cut machine. West Palm Beach, Florida. What's your weather like? I'm kind of envious, so I would like you to tell me that it's cold and rainy because that would make me feel much, much better about my weather here today. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the ink away. And I'm going to use this die here. This set comes with several different sizes of hearts that you can cut out. I'm using the big one. Get out my little mini cutting and embossing machine. Okay. And I'm going to take my plates. Oops, hang on, I grabbed the wrong plate. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I take plate number 1 and one of my number 2 plates, set it there. I set my cardstock with the image right down there, and I put the die right where I want it. Now normally what I would do is take like a sticky note or something like that to hold my die in place, just because I don't want it to wiggle all over. But I ran out of sticky notes. So you'll see you don't necessarily have to have one or have it, you know, it's secured down. And I don't want to use regular tape because of course then that would make a mess on the paper when I try to take the regular tape off. So now what we've done is cut out the heart with and it has the little white halo around it. So now let's cut the other 2 really quickly. Typically, I like to get my embossing, or my die cutting done before our video, but sometimes there's stamping involved that you have to do first, like in this one. So then you have to bear with me while I set it up and cut it out. And fortunately, it's a fairly easy process. See, that one wiggled, and then it was going to be off center, and then I would cry. Okay. Oops. Okay. Sorry about the wiggling of the camera. My desk isn't necessarily industrial sturdy, right? Okay, so one more to go, and the dies are done. You know, once you get the dies all done, this card comes together really quickly, and you will see that in just a moment. Okay, more wiggling of the camera while I run this through the machine. And this is the machine, by the way, that I was saying at the beginning is 20% off this month. You can get it for just $48. It's nice and portable. It fits on your desk. It really is a great size to have. And then these pieces right here, they fold up to make it that much more compact. So it's a nice little machine. Okay, and just so you know, not all of our dies fit into it. but it does work with most of our dies. Okay, so the other thing I did ahead of time is I have 4 of these little tags, and I used this die from the die set to cut them out. And what we're going to do is we're going to take dimensionals and put the hearts on 3 of them. Okay, so let me get my dimensionals back out. Let's see here. Oh, good. You have one of the little ones too, Colleen. I do. I love mine because it's just nice and easy to pick up. And like I said, most stuff fits. Most of our dies fit in it, so it works nice. Oh, you did have a beautiful day. I just saw that. Okay, well, as long as you're going to have a little rain tomorrow, it'll come out in the wash, I suppose. No, I'm happy for you. This is the time of year, when we're all going to start seeing that nice weather. And boy, I am looking forward to it. What about you, Crystal? Are you looking forward to the sunny weather coming? Okay, let's see. Got these little guys on here. Well, almost all of them. Not quite. Okay. By the way, last week I started doing something new, and I started doing a drawing. I'm going to do a drawing every week for the people who join us. And what I'm going to do is, it took a little time last week where I got the names of everybody who had been on and was participating. And I took down the names, and then we did the drawing, and that just took a little extra time. And I don't want to keep you long for that. So what I'm going to be doing in the future is I will do the drawing the next week. What I'll do is I'll actually do the drawing right before I go live. So people who have watched it on replay also have a chance to be entered into the drawing. And we'll talk about that a little more at the end today. Because the way that I know that you are here is if you leave comments, like what Colleen's doing, like what Crystal's doing, where you leave comments, and then I can go back, scroll back through and say, oh, Colleen was here, okay, Crystal was here, okay. And then your names will go into the drawing that I will do right before I go live next week. And then in next week's live, I will announce who won. So, does that make sense? Okay, so now this 4th tag, yeah, I bet your horses are ready for a bit of spring grooming, aren't they? Okay, now I'm going to do a technique called stamping off. What I've done is I inked up my stamp. Now I'm stamping it onto my scratch paper to get some of that extra ink off. And now I'm going to stamp it on my tag. Just like that. So you can see that it makes it quite a bit lighter when you stamp off first. And that's exactly what we want. So now I'm going to put this away and clean off my stamp. This is my Simply Chamois. This is great for cleaning off your stamps. Okay, and I know it looks like this stamp is not clean. It's just one of the things that happens, especially with our photopolymer stamps like this. Oops, I see some ink still on there. The ink stains the stamp. It's clean, and the ink won't come off on future things that I stamp. But it does dye the stamp a little bit. So don't worry about that when it happens. Okay, now I'm going to take my stamp. It's a little one, and it's Happy to Have You in My Life. And for this, I'm going to use my Memento black ink. Ink that up a little bit. Then I'm going to stamp it right over that heart. There we go. Clean off my stamp again. Okay, now I'm going to close this. Now, one thing that I really should have done this at the beginning, but it's, not critical that I didn't. We'll work around it. Is you can see I have these little bows that I tied that are going to go on these tags. 3 of them, I used our black and white gingham ribbon. 3 of them I left as is, but one of them I'm taking my dark Blackberry Bliss Stampin' Blend, and I'm going to color the ribbon. just like that. And you don't really need to do both sides because it does go through pretty well. I do anyway, just, I don't know, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing, I guess. Hey, Robin, good to see you. Welcome. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. It doesn't take long to dry, really, because our Stampin' Blend markers are alcohol-based, so it dries pretty fast. Now what we're going to do is I think I'm going to go ahead and put them on the tags now, and then we'll position them on the card. So for this, I'm using my glue dots, and these are great. They're pretty strong little adhesive, especially for as small as they are, and they're great for ribbons and other embellishments, tacking them into place, something where it's small and you don't want to use up, you don't want to use something that's going to be big and show. This one looks like it got pulled just a little tight, so I'm trying to loosen it so that it matches the others. There we go. Okay, get that one on here as well. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and just pull these off and place them right over the hole. By doing that, it looks like I've tied the ribbon through the hole, so it's kind of cheating, but it allows me to lay things flat on the card. Okay, then we have this one that we just colored, and we're going to put it on the one that's just a little bit different, that has our message on it, our sentiment. And let me move these out of the way here. I'm just tying a little knot. There we go. And trim this down a little bit. There. And now we're going to glue that one right on. Not glue it, but stick it down with our glue dot. So it's a glue dot, so I guess it's gluing it, right? Okay. Now all we need to do is line these up on our card base that we created. Okay, let's see here. Now what I did when I made my original one is I laid them down first. I want to trim this so they at least look like they are the same. Whoops, that was there. So that they were about the same size. So what I did is I laid them down like this. So it was like, okay, this is for sure where I want to put these guys. Made sure everything's lined up and straight. And then I just started gluing them down. So put a little bit of my snail, oh my goodness, we haven't had snail in ages. Seal Plus is the adhesive that I used there. Line it up. Okay. That one looks maybe a little bit crooked, so we'll just turn it just a little bit. Put this one on. See how fast this is coming together? It was just a matter of, get those pieces cut, get them ready, and then, just stick them all together. Okay, there we go. And now we have card number 1 done with our matching envelope. Got the inside there. Card number 1 used with the Sweet Conversations bundle. I'm going to trim this just a tiny bit. There we go. There we go. So now we'll go ahead and set this one aside and we'll move on to card number 2. Oops, there's an extra envelope there. Okay, clean up my mess a little bit. Thanks, Colleen. Colleen says it's a super cute card. Okay, so the next card I'm going to show you is I'm using our Best Year stamp set, which, by the way, is on the retiring list. So if you like this set, and I love this set, I'm really sad to see it going away. A lot of the things that are being retired, I'm sad to see going away. This is on the retiring list, so if you want it, you'll want to get it before it's gone. And this is the card we're going to make. Here's the matching envelope. And I did something a little different with this one. Instead of creating a belly band with cardstock, I kind of created one with our twine. And this one is a fun fold. This is how it opens there and there, and now you have the inside of the card. This one does not leave a whole lot of room for writing a message, but if you wanted a little bit more room, you could omit this piece of designer series paper and write over here as well. I just put something there because I typically don't write long messages, and so I was fine doing that. Okay, so I'm going to just set that there for now in case I need to open this to refer to it. Let's get started on our envelope. And this card is using a designer series paper. I want to show it to you. It's called Symbols of Fortune, and it's in the January through June mini catalog. I'm trying to get out a piece of each style for you so you can see all the different prints that this pack offers. But it really is a gorgeous, gorgeous pack. Okay, I think I'm missing one. What one am I missing? I think this might be, let's see. Maybe I'm missing more. La, 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 la. I wanted you to be able to see all of them. Okay, so you get 2 sheets of each print, and on one side, they all have this gold foil in them. You can see it's shiny and super pretty, kind of has an Asian feel to it. This one has the cranes. I always want to say storks. Cranes. And this one has, I don't know what kind of flower that is. It kind of reminds me of a dandelion when it's ready to be blown, but I doubt that's what it is. This one I think is really pretty. It reminds me of cherry blossoms. And then this one reminds me of Horton Hears a Who. And what is it that he has? A speck. A speck. These are the specks from Horton Hears a Who. Now I doubt that's what Stampin' Up! Had in mind, but it's what my brain sees. Now the flip side is really, really pretty. We've got this floral with little butterflies. We have this one with the cranes. This one with just kind of the bamboo look to it. Got this one with more cranes and clouds. And then this one that just is kind of abstract. I really like it, actually. So beautiful, beautiful paper. And I really recommend it. It is in our January through June mini catalog, which means come June, it will be unavailable. So you definitely want to get it before then. And I want to show you, I was going to show you another card I made with this paper. Completely different look than the one we're making tonight, where it's just a simple little thank you card, but it uses one of the patterns. I don't think I showed you that pattern. Where it's just kind of a marbly sort of gray and gold. And that's what the inside of the card looks like. So, so there's an extra card I made. Let's go ahead and get our envelope ready. Whoops, the envelope for the one we made, or that I made. To do envelopes like what I'm about to do, I do like to use my liquid glue because I can get it on there pretty thin, but I can get it nice and close to the edges. The other thing about it is that it will, it takes a minute to dry, so it gives me a little bit of wiggle room if I need to reposition my paper to get it on there straight or whatever. So when you do this, all I've done is it's a strip of designer series paper. Normally I cut it 2.5 inches wide by 6 inches long. I just happen to have this one and I think it's 7 inches long. So rather than cutting it, I just grabbed it. But 2.5 by 6 is the measurement I normally use. Glue it on there. And then trim off the extra. Okay. Oops. It's kind of square there and I want it to be round. You know, sometimes when you do this, you end up cutting off a little bit of your envelope flap because you get too close or whatever. Not a big deal. Nobody notices. Okay, so there we have it. Let it sit there and dry while we make the card. Okay. First step here is I have a half of a sheet, as I just throw it around, half a sheet of crumb cake cardstock. I don't know if you can really see it on the screen, but it reminds me of like cardboard, the way cardboard has a little bit of color dimension to it where it's not just a straight flat color. And it is 11 inches by 4 1/4, so it's a half a sheet cut lengthwise, and then I scored it at 5 1/2. So we're going to go ahead and make a nice sharp edge there, and then let me grab my trimmer. For this particular card, normally I would leave it like this for the card base, but for this particular one, what I want to do is I want to cut 2 3/4 inches off one end. And I'll set that piece I cut off aside. It'll make, I'll be able to use it, the scrap, later for something else. So now this is our card base where it's the back and then half of the front, okay? So what we're gonna do here is I've got several little pieces to put together. This one isn't a complicated card, but there are a lot of moving parts. So I've got some Calypso coral, and then I have some pieces that I cut that fit on those. This one is going to go here. This one is going to go here. So let's start with those pieces so that we can go ahead and stick them to our card. Whoops. Okay. Just making sure my margins are relatively the same everywhere. Let's do this one now. Okay. Same thing, make sure your margins are relatively the same. And now we're going to stick this onto our card. This one is going to go on the inside of the card. Try to get my margins to line up as best that I can. Then we're going to put this one on the front of the card. Whoop. Now I'm throwing stuff around. Now this one, when I put it on, I want to make sure, not only am I watching my margins, but I want to make sure that it's lined up with this piece over here. It just allows for a little smoother continuation. Now we have this piece. This is soft succulent. I want to call it Sage Shadow, which is a color we had 100,000 years ago. This piece is 7 1/2 by 2 3/4, and I scored it at 3 3/4, which is right in the middle. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, well, I think I'm going to do my stamping before I put too much attached here, but let's go ahead and do that inside piece. We're going to mount this piece with the bamboo onto the white, and then the white onto the inside of the card. So let's put this down. Okay, whoops. Watch the margins. I didn't leave a very big margin here. I'm a real fan of a 1/8 inch margin. What that does is then it gives you about a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. And I just like that it gives a little bit of a pop without drawing too much attention to itself. Okay, let's see here. Now, if you have, if you're using designer series paper that has a direction to it, make sure that you lay this down correctly so that whatever it is going up and not down or sideways or whatever. So now we have the inside done there. Let's go ahead and do this inside piece. For this, I had just this tiny little strip. You can barely see it because it's only an inch. It's only about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, I'm going to try to speak in English. Basically about 1/8 of an inch wide. And what I'm going to do, because it's so narrow, when it's a little wider, I'll use my glue, my liquid glue, just straight from the bottle. But in a case like this where it's so narrow, it's kind of hard not to put too much glue on there. So what I do is I put a little bit of glue on my silicone mat. I've got one of my sponge daubers. Put it on your finger like it's Thanksgiving. And I'm just getting a little bit of glue on there, just like so. Move this out of the way. And now I'm just going to line this up kind of along the bottom of my piece of basic white cardstock, but I do like, one thing I like to do is leave a little bit of a white edge under it. I think it just makes it stand out a little bit more. And I don't have it over quite far enough. There we go. Ooh, there we go. Got that on there. You know what? I think we need a little bit more light, so I'm going to try to put my light on here and see if this helps. Yeah, Colleen, I use that technique a lot with my glue. When I have small pieces like this, or if I have a die that has really fine details, for example, on this card, if I don't want to take the time to put the adhesive paper on the back, the adhesive sheets, then I'll just put a little bit of glue on with the sponge dauber. It's quick and easy. Okay, so let's glue this one in. Actually, we need to stamp it first. And so for the inside, I'm using, where is it? And it says, and every thoughtful thing you do. Because remember, the front is going to say thank you for all that you are and every thoughtful thing you do. And I'm going to use my soft succulent ink. Get it lined up in there. There we go. Clean off my stamp. Okay. I'll leave this out because I'm going to use it again in just a minute anyway. So let's go ahead and glue this down. This again is going on the inside. And in addition to watching your margins, you also want to try to make sure these two pieces are lined up pretty well. So there's the inside of our piece, right? Now let's do the front. And I just stuck my finger right in the stamp pad. That's what I do. Okay, so I'm going to take the stamp that says thank you for all that you are. And I'm going to bring in my ink. And I'm going to stamp it kind of toward the top in the middle. There we go. put the ink pad away because I can't be trusted with an open ink pad. Robin knows this. Okay. There's something so satisfying about that squeak, like it makes me feel like I got it all clean. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this flower that I cut out from a sheet of this designer series paper. We're going to cut, I'm just going to fussy cut it kind of quickly. So I'm just going around. I do like to leave a little bit of a halo. Makes it easier to make mistakes that aren't as noticeable. I shouldn't say it makes it easier to make mistakes, but it makes it so that your mistakes aren't quite as noticeable. And see, I'm just kind of going around. I'm not trying to do anything super precise, just going around the edge of my flower. And around the leaf. The trick to fussy cutting is move your paper, not your scissors. So you can see I'm twisting the paper around. Let's see here. We're on the home stretch now, guys. You know, I meant to fussy cut this before the video tonight so that you didn't have to just sit there and watch me do it. But I kind of forgot it needed to be done. I work a regular daytime 9 to 5 kind of job, so Wednesdays are a little crazy. I go into the office a little bit early so that I can leave a little bit early, and I rush home to get ready for these videos, which, to be honest, are probably my favorite part of the whole week. I do enjoy stamping with you. Okay, so we got that cut. See, it didn't take all that long. Now what I'm going to do is kind of line this up like so and figure out where and how I want this flower to be. So I think that looks kind of good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little glue there. So I'm just going to put glue on this upper part of that flower. And a little bit right there. And I'm going to stick it down. Then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim off the extra. And then I'm going to take these leftover pieces and figure out how they can, fit in to cover the rest of my little piece. This looks like it's going to do quite nicely. And I let them overlap so that it ends up looking, like several little flowers. Oh, I just realized I can't really do that because now those are upside down. So let's see, how are we going to do this? We shall make this work, you guys. I'm going to peel this up a little bit because then by putting it behind like that, now it is, the little one right here is right side up. So let's cut off that extra. And now what we'll do is we'll take this little bit here and go like this. Put a little glue on that. We're going to lift up this piece right here. Whoops. Okay. And then, where did I put my glue in the right spot? Yeah. There. Just like that. Now it's going to go all the way across like I wanted it to. Get this extra cut off here. Now, just to let you know, I can see a little bit of glue gunk right there. What I do is I wait, let it dry a little bit. Probably by the end of this video, we should be able to do it. And I have a glue eraser that I bought on Amazon that I will just take and go over that spot, and it'll erase that glue right off. It's really nice, so I don't have to worry about that little bit of ugliness. So let's go ahead and put the glue away and stick this down. Okay, gotta make sure I'm putting everything right side up. I do have a tendency to get going and hurrying and not paying attention, and then I put things on upside down. I've done that before. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this to the inside of this card, and I'm just going to center it basically. So I'm putting a little bit of extra adhesive on there just because all the opening and closing, I don't want it to kind of lessen the adhesive so that it starts to fall off. Okay, that looks centered. And there we go. There's that card. Easy peasy, right? Let's see here if my adhesive eraser will work yet. Still might be a little bit wet. Oh, it seems to be working. I just have to be careful because I have those edges of the flower, and I don't want to accidentally tear up that paper. And again, I just bought this on this eraser on Amazon, and you can see now I got the little glue gunk off. So here's our card. Oh wait, it's not done, because now we have this little baker's twine belly band thing. Now what I did first is, because I have two strands, and if the person who receives the card unties it, the strands could come apart, and I didn't want that to happen. So I am just tying a little knot. It's not going to show, it's going to be on the back of the card anyway. But this way it will stay together when the person, if the person unties it instead of just sliding it off. So now I'm going to go ahead and make a little double bow with my two strands. I really like baker's twine. We have a baker's twine essentials pack, and it comes with 5 different colors. There's black, white, gray, vanilla, and kind of an oatmeal sort of. And I love it. I use it all the time. Okay, so now I want to cut these just so that they are not quite as long. And there we go. Ta-da! And now our card is done. So that's card number 2 in the books. Let's put this back on so everything is together. See, and it just slides back on just like that. Unless the person unties it, and then they can just tie the bow again. Okay, so ready for card number 3? You like the baker's twine too, Robin? I love it. I love it. It makes nice, easy bows, and it doesn't add a lot of lumpiness to the card for when it comes time to mail it. Okay, so the third set that we're going to use here is the Pansy Patch bundle. And this bundle is on sale this month, 20% off. But the bundle is also going to be discontinued with the new catalog. You'll still be able to order the pieces separately, but you won't be able to order them with the 10% discount in the new catalog. So if you like this bundle, now is the time to get it because A, it's still here, and B, it's 20% off this month. So I'm going to go ahead and set these aside and we'll get started on our card. This is another one with a lot of moving parts, but it's really quite simple to do. So another fun fold for you, our coordinating envelope, a belly band, and then are you ready for this fun fold? Another demonstrator, Patty Bennett, did a tutorial on how to make these, and they were so easy and so darn cute. So these little flaps open, but then this opens too. So that's your card, just like that. And it looks kind of complicated until you see how it, how it works. And it, like I said, is really quite simple. So let's go ahead and start with getting our envelope ready. And I have my 2.5 by 6 inch strip for the flap. So let's go ahead and glue that down. Oh, thank you, Colleen. She says she loves the colors. This is a set that I bought when it first came out, and I thought, oh, I'm going to love it. And it was too busy for me. You'll see there's a lot of parts that have to be put together to make the pansy, and so I never quite used it. I forced myself to learn how to make the pansies and realized just how simple they are, and I'm so disappointed because I could have been using the set the whole time, now realizing how simple it is. But I was kind of scared of it. So let that be a lesson that, a lot of times when we're afraid to use something because we think it's going to be too tough, there's probably a tutorial out there that will show you how to use it, and it's probably not as hard as you think it's going to be. Okay, so let's go ahead and trim this off. Okay, there we go. And we'll set that aside. Let's go ahead and get started with our card. So the first thing we have is our card base. Calypso, why do I always want to say Calypso Coral? I think Calypso, yeah, that's what it's called, Calypso Coral. And I just have, it's 5.5 by 4.25. And then I have a smaller white piece that I put on here that is 4 by 5.25. Let's go ahead and stick that down now. And just try to line up my margins. Now we have this piece, which is, let's see here, 3 3/4 by 8.5, I think. 3 3/4 by 10.25. We're going to fold it in half. I just scored it right in the middle, which would have been 5 1/8. And then I'm going to take, let's see here, I have a piece of basic white for the inside, and I have a piece of designer series paper for the outside. Then I have a couple little strips here that we're going to put on the inside. Let's go ahead and stick all this together. We'll put the one on the front down first, just because that's the one I grabbed first. Okay, stick this down on the front. Again, if your paper is directional, make sure you're putting it right side up. There we go, just like that. Now our inside piece, first what we're going to do is we're going to stamp it. I usually suggest, I didn't do this on the last card, but I usually say stamp first. That way if you do something like you don't like the way it's stamped, did something weird, you can always flip the paper over and redo it if you haven't added all the other accessory pieces to it. So I have a stamp here that it says, wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you. And I'm going to put it right about here. Try to make sure it's straight. Yeah, pretty good. Ooh, that was loud. Okay, now I have a little strip of my Calypso coral and a little strip of the Designer Series paper. Let's see, put that ink pad away. And here, because this strip is a little bit wider, I'm going to go ahead and use my liquid glue directly from the bottle. And I have cut these strips a little wider than what I actually need. And that's something I do quite a bit, actually, because then I don't have to worry about if they're just a little bit too short. I'd rather them be just a little bit too long and trim off the extra, than have to worry about it being too short. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto my white piece. I'm just going to center it on there. Make sure it's straight. Okay, and then I'll come through and trim off the extra. Whoop. Okay. Hey Jennifer, good to see you. Welcome. Okay, we're just about done with the third card, but you know, you can always catch the replay to see all the other wonderful goodness that we've made. I'm going to go ahead and mount this to the inside of the card. Ah, it's sticking to me now. Okay. Line it up here with my margins. The inside is done, and that front flap is done. Now, are you ready for the exciting part? These little flaps, so easy. What I did is they are 3.5 by 3.5 squares, and then, I don't know if you can see the line, but I scored them down the center right here, just so that I can fold them in half really easily. Take my bone folder and give it a nice crisp fold. Now, what I'm going to do is take my liquid glue here. You could use Seal, you could use the liquid glue, you could use whatever. I just like this because it does allow me to move around a little bit if I need to. So now I'm going to just lay this on here so that it's centered nicely. There we go, just like that. And then I'm going to do my other one. And this Designer Series paper, by the way, is retiring with the new catalog as well. Usually they retire all of the Designer Series papers that are in the annual catalog so that they can bring out an entirely new set. It's kind of rare when they keep one. They do sometimes, but I don't think they're keeping any this year. Okay, so anyway, there we are. These two pieces overlap just like this. And see, they're just glued to the back, but nobody's going to see that because now we're going to stick this to the card base that we created a few minutes ago. Put it right on here. Try to line it up. There we go. And of course we want a belly band on this, right? So I did a couple things with this belly band. One, I took my Calypso coral and I took a little bit of pale papaya on the end there, okay? And then I got out my Banners Pick-a Punch. You know I like to use this punch quite a bit. I like how it finishes off the edges. So I am going to go ahead and make sure this is centered. Oops, I don't think that's centered. Pooh, it's not. Okay, let's try this again. Get it in here. Come on. There, that's better. And then I'm going to take my little tiny pale papaya one and slide it in there as well. It's kind of tricky because it's so small. But I'm going to take your pick tool, right? Get a little more of the putty out of there. And I'm going to show you why. Because now I can take the putty end and use it to move this piece over. Oop. There. And I can move this to line it up to make sure that it's centered. And then I feel it there. It's trying to come out that way. Let's get out the side. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue it right there so it gives just a tiny hint of that pale papaya at the end of my belly band, right? So let's go ahead and use the seal adhesive. Whoops. Okay, so now that's lined up. The other thing I like to do is then take my bone folder on this side. It might get kind of wacky with that little tiny piece, but see how I'm curling it just a little bit like you curl Christmas ribbon? And the reason I do that is then when it lays down on the card, it kind of has a little bit of flow to it, like real ribbon would have. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our belly bands, and I want this piece to line up right about there. So I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to go ahead and fold it around the card. You don't want to fold it too tightly, because if it's too tight, the belly band won't go off and on easily, and you want it to be able to slide fairly easily. So just like that, now we have our belly band, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of tear and tape, because that's a nice strong adhesive, and we don't want our belly band to fall apart just because it's getting used a lot. So I'm going to put one little strip on, move that over here, whoop, get up there, put it right there. I'm going to take, there, that'll help that. And then I'm going to take this one, I'm going to run over it with my bone folder again as well. Okay, so, and I'm seeing a little tiny edge of this pale papaya sticking out, so I'm just going to trim it off because it bothers me. Okay. Okay, now I'm taking my other piece of tear and tape, and I'm going to put it right about here. I like to go over the tear and tape with my bone folder because it just makes it so that the sticky side is stuck down to the cardstock really nicely. And I'm going to pull up that release tape. And I'm just going to kind of just line this up. But again, remember, you don't want to do it too tight. And there's our belly band. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the pansy that comes from using these dies. So you can see there's a lot of pieces that go into making it. I went ahead and I've already punched them out, or cut them out with a die, or the dies, multiple. And I'm going to let them all fall out. Actually, I'm going to leave this one in the bag because it's so tiny, I know I'll lose it. So if it's in the bag, I can't lose it. Okay, so what we have is two of these pieces. I'll show you which die they come from. This die right here. We have one of this piece, and it's this one right here. Then I have one of this piece right here. That's this. I have two of these, and it is oh, right here under my thumb. Then it has this little guy right here, and it's this one. And then this is what I use to cut out this tiny little circle, and it makes 3 of them for you, which is nice. We only needed 1, but that's okay. So now here's what we're going to do to piece this together. Start with this white piece, and we're going to take this little edge, right? A little bit of liquid glue here. There we go. This would be another one that would be good to use, like the sponge dauber technique that I showed you, where I put the glue on my silicone sheet. Do I have glue? Oh, I'm missing glue right there. If you do it directly from the bottle, you do want to be careful. This piece looks like it's already trying to come apart on me. Well, sometimes you just got to show it who's boss. Okay, and I'm just lining it up on the white, just like this. So it's right around the edge. Got that? Then take this piece. Okay, we're going to glue it down. Just like so. Okay, line this up so that everything lines up and matches there. Okay. Then, now we're going to take that little tiny yellow dot. It's kind of a teardrop shape. Get a little bit of glue on there. I should have gotten a pair of tweezers for this just because it's so small. Okay, gonna put it right there in the center. So now we have this half done, right? Now, take these 2 pieces, they kind of remind me of seashells, and we're gonna glue these edges on. Okay, 1 for this guy. Looks like we've just put a little wig on him. Okay, and then 1 for the other. I kind of got a little crazy with the glue on that one. Okay. I'm going to need to move that one around a little bit, I think. It's not quite lined up. And that's another reason why it's good to use liquid glue for these pieces, because the liquid glue will allow you to slide it around a little bit as needed. Now I'm going to take these 2 pieces and I'm going to glue them together like this. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue over here, and I'm going to overlap them. There's no specific precision to how much to overlap them. Completely up to you. There we go. I like it when it looks like one flowing piece, but that's just my personal preference. You can make it how you like it to look. Put a little glue on the back of this one and overlay it here. Whoops. My fingers are so gluey right now. I will probably take my glue eraser over this one also after it dries. And now we're going to go ahead and stick it down to our belly band that we created. And I'm going to go ahead and use some tear and tape here, just because, again, it's going to get moved a lot with the belly band. So I just want to make sure that it's got good adhesive on there so that it doesn't come apart. over it with the bone folder. And now we're gonna stick it right on there so it's the center of the card. And there we have it. It was really simple to do, wasn't it? And I let myself be so intimidated by all those die cuts for so long or all those dies when I could have been using it. So again, let that be a lesson to you. That you don't need to be intimidated by it. There's surely a tutorial out there. Also, if there is a technique that you're wanting to learn, or maybe you have a stamp set like this that you're like, I bought it and now I'm intimidated by it and I don't know what to do with it, send me a message, let me know, and I'm happy to try to help. You know, and that'll give me ideas too for one of my live videos to show people, because if you've got the question, then chances are other people do too. So never feel silly asking your questions. So let me move stuff out of the way here, and then we'll just kind of go over, I'll show you again what we made tonight. We got a lot done tonight, didn't we? Okay, so we have this card that we made. I like this one better because the glue is all dried on it. Okay, so we have that card. We also have this beautiful thank you card that we made using the Symbols of Fortune paper. And here's that extra one that I made using the Symbols of Fortune. Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer said that it's a beautiful card, and I appreciate that. I enjoy hearing feedback like that. Got that one. And then also this little guy that we made tonight. Simple little I love you card. So if you liked what you saw, oh, you're absolutely welcome, Colleen. Thank you very much. I appreciate those kind words. And if you did enjoy what you saw tonight, like Colleen did, then please click on like, or if you're watching on YouTube, do the thumbs up. You can share the video. You can also continue to follow me here on my Facebook page or on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I upload this video. Every time I do a live video, I immediately upload it to YouTube, so it's available there as well. And you can follow me on my YouTube channel and by subscribing. And there's a little bell on there that you can click, and it will give you notifications when I'm going to go live next. So just a few little tips for you. If you want to recreate any of these or take advantage of the sale that's going on, or just restock up on some of your supplies, I would love to earn your business, and you can shop on my website at heathersides.stampinup.net. For the month of March, this is my host code, and if your order is under $150, if you would use that host code, I'd really appreciate it. It helps me to get the prizes that I'm going to be giving away weekly. But if your order's over $150, please don't use the host code, because you'll have some rewards coming to you from Stampin' Up, and I want to make sure that you receive them. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. Make sure you leave some sort of comment if you haven't already, because that's how I will know that you watched this, even if you watched it on the replay, because I won't do the drawing until next Wednesday before I go live again. But then at the beginning of that live, I will announce who won that week's prize and what the prize is. So I hope to see you guys all next week. I hope you have a wonderful week until then, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.